The Galaxy S23 Plus and the iPhone 15 Pro are priced at $999, and there is one question. Which should you buy and why? I'll be answering that question in this video because these two phones are very similar and also different at the same time. There are some things that the S23 gives me that the iPhone just does not, and vice versa. So let's see which is the better phone or the better value for money. I'm KJOS, and this is where I break down the latest tech into simple terms. Alright, let's start with the price. Buying a phone in 2023 is pretty difficult because there are so many options. You start with evaluating the specs and the features amongst other things. But once the price of the device is not in your best interest, then most people just look for an alternative. Pro versions of the iPhone have always been $999 for as long as I remember, and most times it's met with positive reception because with Apple, you know what you're getting. And it's also very similar to Samsung. The S23 is $999, and many debated that this should have been $799. Well, those people were right because right now on the Samsung website, it is selling for $799 for 256 gig. Okay, let me give you a hint. If you wait until Black Friday, you'll get it cheaper. Okay, you didn't hear this from me. The designs for the 15 Pro and the S23 Plus are similar. They both have a square design with a matte finish, but the S23 has an aluminum rail, while the 15 Pro is laced with the new titanium, making it stronger and lighter, and at least 9 grams lighter than the S23 Plus. Apple even went further with the 15 Pro by giving it a more contoured edge for easier grip. Very nice. They both have a triple camera setup at the back, but more on the camera very soon. On the sides, the S23 Plus has the button and the volume button on one side of the phone, while the 15 Pro has the power button on the right side, the volume keys on the left, and they even added the new action button to replace the mute switch. One of the few gripes with my job is you never really get used to a phone. Some days I like the button on the S23 Plus, other days I need something different. I'm curious, do you guys like the button placements on your phone? Let me know down in the comments. At the bottom, Apple have finally caught up with the rest of the world by adding USB-C, a change from their lightning cable from the last 11 years. This might be good news and bad news at the same time. The good news is you can now charge your iPhone, your AirPods, MacBook, and iPad with one single charger. No need to bring multiple chargers when you're traveling. The bad news is if you own the Apple keyboard or the Magic Mouse and other Apple devices, then the lightning cable will be needed. I also see Apple replacing these devices in the future with USB-C compatibility, which in turn means you need to upgrade your device, which also means you need to spend more money. It is honestly a revolving door. One thing that did not get changed with the iPhone 15 Pro is the display. I noticed during the Apple events there was no mention of an upgrade, so it's safe to say the display is exactly the same from the 14 Pro. So that is a Super Retina OLED panel with HDR10 and a 120Hz refresh rate. Now because the panel is LTPO, it can go as low as 10 Hz when you're just scrolling through your phone, and that saves battery in the long term. That 6.1-inch display makes it easier to reach all 4 corners of the phone without any issues. Now the S23 on the other hand is 6.6 inches, a dynamic OLED 2X display with a 120Hz refresh rate that only goes as low as 48 Hz instead of 10. Now with the brightness, both phones are very bright, but the iPhone produces more with 2000 nits of peak brightness to the S23 Plus's 1750 nits. Honestly, when you're outside, both phones are very visible, but in extreme cases, the 2000 nits from the iPhone makes a huge difference. Battery life is very interesting on the 15 Pro because there is no number available on the Apple website. It just says an all-day battery. I checked other websites and it is exactly the same. We can assume the battery life is the same as last year, maybe a slight upgrade, I can't really tell. But with the A17 Pro and other internal factors, over time the battery will be better than the iPhone 14 Pro. That was not exactly the best if I'm being honest, to me anyway. Now the S23 Plus has a 4700 mAh of battery. Going by last year's figures, there really shouldn't be any competition. For now, it is safe to say the Galaxy S23 Plus has the better battery this year. It's a day and a half or a 2-day battery depending on how you use your phone. Now, I'll have more updates on the iPhone when it arrives in my studio next week, 22nd of September. A few other things that make these phones quite similar but different is how you unlock it. The iPhone primarily uses Face ID. This is fast and is a staple with the Apple ecosystem, whereas the S23 Plus uses different methods but the most popular is the Fingerprint Scanner, which is an ultrasonic. It is fast, reliable, and a better way to secure your phone in my opinion. Now, where there's a huge change of course is with its performance. They announced the new A17 Pro for the iPhone 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max, and it feels like Apple is pushing this towards mobile gaming. And mobile gaming is not for me, but there is an audience for it out there, so it kind of makes sense. They also said the 15 Pro will be able to play console games, and I'm not really sure about that, but I would love to test it out. It also shows that they have sorted out the heating issues over time, and I reckon the new titanium design helps with that. Now, apart from gaming, the A17 Pro's GPU is 20% faster, which boosts performance and productivity. Now, the S23 Plus has the very powerful Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip made for Galaxy, and in the last couple of months, there hasn't been any drop-offs in performance, no hiccups, no stutters, or any of the sort. And the S23 Plus is more of a production tool than the iPhone if we're keeping it a buck. Now, with a huge display, having two apps open at the same time is a great option if you're watching football on one side of your phone and you want to be on Twitter or X or whatever it's called nowadays. Just simply swiping left or right to go back is essential for a smartphone. These are just a few things the 15 Pro cannot do at the moment. However, with other Apple devices, the iPhone becomes a more powerful tool when paired with your laptop or AirPods or your Apple Watch. The ecosystem comes alive and delivers a seamless workflow that is hard for most people to get out of. Now, moving to the cameras, the S23 Plus and the 15 Pro have a triple camera system, but they differ in terms of specs. The S23 Plus has a 50 megapixel main wide-angle lens, a 10 megapixel telephoto lens, and a 12 megapixel ultra-wide. With the iPhone 15 Pro, there is a huge upgrade with 7 different focal lengths: a macro lens, ultra-wide, 24mm, 28, 35, 48 for telephoto, and a huge 20mm focal length. The 120 is only meant for the 15 Pro Max, and it has a 5x optical zoom, and from just what I've seen from the Apple event, I definitely cannot wait to try it out. It obviously will not replace a lens from Sigma or Sony, but it'll do the job. As always, I'll be doing a camera comparison, so stay tuned. When it's all said and done, the choice to buy a smartphone ultimately lies with you. I am only here to give you insights and try to steer you in the right direction. So which phone has the best value for you? And that depends on two things. If you have maybe an older iPhone and you haven't really been impressed with the new iPhones this year, and you want to try something different and you're on a budget, it might be time to make a switch. On the other hand, if that ecosystem is beating your ass and you're losing, then the 15 Pro is also the right thing for you. Again, it is your money and your decision. What do you guys think of the iPhone 15 Pro and the S23 Plus? Which holds a better value or a higher value? Comment down below and let me know. And as usual, subscribe if you got any value from this and like this video as this goes a long way. Thank you guys for watching. My name is KJOS and I will catch you guys in the next one.